introduction. So today we're going to talk a lot about engagement. Obviously, I'm going to take you through a few different definitions around engagement and talk about some different facets of engagement, and then really spend a lot of time giving you a lot of very tangible action items that you can take away in order to implement employee engagement. So I am a very tangible, action-oriented kind of a person. I'm one of those people that when you read a business book, I really want it to be, real just clear and specific on what I should do next. A lot of business books out there are very sort of theoretical and will describe a model, but they don't often give a real list of things that you could do. And I'm really going to try to do that here for you, give you a real solid list of action items. So in the end, at the end of this presentation, you could theoretically implement an entire strategic plan around employee engagement. But if you're in HR, of course, you have to have your C-suite on board to focus on engagement. So at the very least, you'll definitely be able to take away some tips that you could implement with or without having an entire engagement strategic plan in place. So no matter what end of the spectrum you're on, you'll be able to implement some of what you learned today. Just to give you a little bit more information about me, I am a subject matter expert on the topic of workplace bullying and really have spent about 12 years understanding negative work environments and why negativity happens at work and why people act that way. And over time, in engaging in this research and doing my consulting practice, I realized that ultimately I also needed to be an expert on the opposite of workplace bullying, which is a positive, thriving work environment. And so that's where my interest in engagement has come from and why I've done so much research on the topic of employee engagement, because obviously workplace bullying drives down employee engagement, and in working with clients, my goal is always to help them create a more positive workplace where people can thrive and where they're engaged and where they want to be at work. And so just kind of wanted to share that with you. I have traveled the world speaking on the topic of building positive workplaces. I'm a college professor, and also I've written 2 books on workplace bullying specifically. And so that's just a little bit about me, and there's my contact information if you're interested in getting in touch with me after the webinar. So I absolutely recommend you pull out a pad of paper and a pen and get ready to take some notes. I'm actually going to give you 52 tangible action items that you could literally implement right after this webinar is over. And so I hope you'll take that to heart and close down everything around you, turn your phone off, turn off your email and everything else happening, and just take the time to learn and really take in these 52 action items. So let's first start by talking about employee engagement. Employee engagement is definitely a buzzword. We hear it a lot, but what does it really mean? Well, according to the Gallup poll, which was in 2014, they found that only 13% of employees are engaged. That's not a lot. That's a very low number. And the Gallup poll looks at engagement in 3 different ways, or has a spectrum of engagement. So at the top, we've got engaged employees who Gallup defines as working with passion and feeling a profound connection to their company. So this is one of my favorite definitions of engagement, that phrase, profound connection. They feel a profound connection to their company. If you feel like you have a personal connection to your company, that you're passionate about what your company does, absolutely you're going to work a lot harder for that company and for that company's mission than if you are actively disengaged, which at the other end of the spectrum there is acting out unhappiness at work and even undermining the work. And so you're at the other end of the spectrum. You're actively working against the organization's mission and vision. And then there's the people in the middle that just sort of check out, and they're not engaged or actively disengaged. They're just sort of there at work. Some might call this presenteeism, right? That they're there, but they're not really hurting the organization, but they're not really helping it either. Dale Carnegie training found some other numbers. They said that 29% of the workforce is engaged, 45% are not engaged and 26% are actively disengaged. So same kind of thing. So their number is higher. It's 15% higher. And they were defining engagement a little bit differently, I think. Wikipedia, which, they obviously have a lot of information about a lot of different things, they have defined employee engagement as the property of the relationship between an organization and its employees. An engaged employee is one who is fully absorbed by and enthusiastic about their work and takes positive action to further the organization's reputation. So again, what we're saying about engagement is when you have employees who are engaged, they're literally actively working towards the organization's goals. Their own personal goal is to help the organization succeed, and so they're actively doing things to make that happen. Engage for Success, which is a consulting firm focused on engagement, they define it as a workplace approach resulting in the right conditions for all members of an organization to give their best. They're committed, they're motivated, and they have an enhanced sense of well-being. So this is another really great definition of engagement. I like some of the facets of this. So what they're saying is that it's an approach that the organization takes. So it's their definition of engagement isn't so focused on the people or the employees, it's focused on the organization itself. And it says the organization has the ability to create the conditions for that so that people can give their best. I also like the very last line there where it says that we're talking about employees having an enhanced sense of their own well-being. That really resonates with me because as a workplace bullying expert who focuses on helping organizations turn it around so that their employees can thrive, I really believe that I have a personal mission to create an organization where people thrive because when they go home at night, they thrive within their families and they have positive relationships with their family members. And their family members then take that out into their communities and they have positive, thriving relationships with their communities. So really, I think that organizations have a moral obligation to create a positive workplace so that they can have a real true effect on their community with their people, so that the mission goes beyond just whatever it is the organization is trying to achieve with its services or products. Really, there's a second piece that every organization should be focused on and has a moral obligation to focus on, which is, creating a place where employees feel like they're thriving and where they feel positive so that their behavior bleeds into the community. So this last line there from Engage for Success, that really resonates with me, and I just really firmly believe that if you're going to be responsible for employees and helping them pay their rent by giving them a paycheck, you're also responsible for helping them thrive as a person. So Forbes describes engagement in these ways, that employee engagement is the emotional commitment the employee has to the organization. And Forbes is sure to say that we're not talking about happiness or job satisfaction. Those are different things. So job satisfaction is, do I enjoy the tasks that I am engaging in? Do I enjoy the people I work with? Do I enjoy my job? Do I enjoy being here and doing what I'm doing day in and day out, versus engagement, which is, again, about this profound commitment, profound connection, sense of well-being, a sense of being able to thrive. So it's, job satisfaction is about the tasks at hand, the job responsibilities, and engagement is about the person and their own feelings towards the organization and how they feel about the organization's mission and wanting to be a part of that. So just something to note. And according to Forbes, satisfaction and happiness predict turnover, and engagement predicts discretionary effort. So discretionary effort is this essentially a choice that employees make every day that they're at work. Employees have the ability to say, I'm going to give you 110% all day, every day, or they could say, I'm only going to do the minimum. And so every single minute of every single day, employees have a choice in terms of how much effort they want to put in. And so if you have positive engagement, and if you have, you know, employees that are engaged, because of that profound commitment, they make a choice every single day to put it in their best. Versus if you're not focused on engagement, if you have an organization where there's bullying, for example, people certainly will choose to put in just the minimum. So you as an organization have the ability to sort of help manage those decisions that employees make minute by minute.